What is up, guys? My name's Jordan, back with my old man Howie. And in this episode of the GoToGuys podcast, we recap Fanatics Fest, the World Cup Final, discuss Yaxel Lendeborg being the Summer League MVP, and where is LeBron James going?
Welcome to another episode of the Go-To Guys. We're back. It's Wednesday, fast moving week. The sports world was on fire the last couple weeks. World Cup Finals, Jordan mentioned, MLB All-Star game last week. But I think, the epicenter of the sports world leading up to the World Cup Finals was right here in our own New York City at the Jacob Javits Center, where they had the third annual Fanatics Fest.
It was an absolute blast. I mean, if you're a sports fan, it literally has everything. You could jump off into a WWE rink off the top rope. You could do an entrance. You could shoot basketballs with Victor Wembanyama watching. You could go trade, buy, sell sports cards. You could see celebrities between whether it's Justin Bieber, Jay-Z. Then you have the athletes like LeBron, Katie, like literally everyone in the sports world, and even some celebrities outside of the sports world were there, and we were there for 3 days, and we were burnt out by the end. And I think it's fair to say it just gets better and better each year they have it, and I'm already looking forward to next year.
No, I would totally agree. Hats off to Michael Rubin, who's like the Walt Disney of Fanatics Fest. I mean, it really, really is what he's turned this into, him and his team. We know there's a lot of people. We met, a couple of them. What he's turned this into, it's just for sports, the sports fan's dream. I mean, in addition to the things that Jordan mentioned, you had over 500 card dealers, tables being exhibited. And it wasn't just tables. I mean, some of them had like experiences, like Swiss Breaks had like this whole area, and they had celebrities like Cooper Cup and Alan Houston come to
Cooper
their
Cup, Cooper Flag.
I'm s I'm sorry, Cooper Flag. Cooper Flag and Allen Houston come to their booth to rip cards. There were crowds around them. The FIFA experience was unreal. They almost had like a modified soccer pitch where you could kick soccer balls, and that was part of Fanatics games. The WWE entrance experience where you could go and, sort of replicate the entrance of your favorite WWE superstar. Raising Cane's had an interesting display, the Fanatics Sportsbook, on and on and on. It's really tough to explain unless you go there.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a sports fan, you could be, the smallest sports fan, the biggest sports fan. Fanatics Fest is meant for all sports fans. And the great part about it was part of a weekend or a 4-day span where you had the Dodgers playing the Yankees, the Mets were in town, Saturday night main event for WWE Fan Saturday night. And I think we can transition into probably the biggest event from the weekend, the World Cup final between Spain and Argentina that featured Yamal, the up and coming star on Barcelona, and then the former Barcelona star, probably safe to say the GOAT of soccer, of FIFA, of the World Cup, whatever you want to refer to him as, Lionel Messi, playing for Argentina, and what might be his last World Cup game, let alone final.
No, the World Cup had everything. I think the get-in price for the game as it approached the day was close to $10,000.
But yeah,
You
crazy.
know, there was a lot of news being made as it got closer to the tournament actually kicking off. And it seems like it ended up being a rousing success. People criticized the fact that MetLife Stadium was selected to host the final, or during the games, it was actually changed to New York, New Jersey Stadium because of FIFA selling their own sponsorships. But I really think the stadium and the experience shined. There were always going to be complaints about the fact that there was no parking at the stadium directly, but for the most part, it went off without a hitch. The final was just an exhibition in entertainment of all aspects, from the introductions to the halftime show to the trophy ceremony.
Yeah, I mean, everyone was there. You had Tom Cruise, Jalen Brunson of the Knicks, just literally, I
Well,
think Wemby was there.
Cruz actually spoke. I mean, Cruz
Yeah,
spoke on the field, but the people watching were like a who's who
yeah.
of celebrities, athletes, sports entertainers. Like their Roman Reigns was there. It was amazing.
And the halftime show, like, featured literally the biggest stars from each country. You had Justin Bieber from Canada, you had BTS for I don't wanna get the
I
country
think they're
wrong.
from Asia, right?
Yeah,
From
no, Asia,
Korea?
but yeah, no, Asia, Shakira or J.Lo, whoever it was, and then, they
No,
had Cole.
Shakira, Madonna.
Yeah, everyone, just
In
everyone.
fact in fact, a halftime performance started under MetLife. It was very interesting with Madonna and almost like vehicles go you were trying to figure out where it was, but it really started under the stadium and then came onto the field. The game itself, it wasn't as memorable as the last final in the World Cup, which I think you told me was
Yeah,
sorta
nothing
just
beats that.
historical.
Nothing beats it.
It would have been extremely difficult to beat that, but, it was tied for a very long period of time during this game, and I think the goalie for Spain, blocked a record number of kicks during the game.
I
I
think
I don't even think our
Argentina
Yeah,
blocked.
that's right, because Argentina didn't even have many shots on goal, during the
Which was
game.
crazy. Just a crazy, crazy experience, whether you're a soccer fan or not, just brings, all the countries together. And now we have to wait, 2 years to the Olympics and 4 years for another World Cup. So hopefully, time goes slow before then because it's always fun watching that and you don't want to speed it up too fast.
No, it definitely sounds like this was the most lucrative World Cup ever. Certainly, this continent, North America, Mexico, and everything would work real well if they brought it back here again. And I think there were some takeaways from this World Cup that have been done in certain sporting events here and there. But in reading articles after the World Cup, things like watch parties really should become the norm, not only for major events like the finals, but for every NFL game,
Mhm.
regardless of what team you're a fan of. You
Agreed.
know, it just seems like that's going to be a big takeaway. I think, like anything else, they look at these types of experiences and they try to incorporate the takeaways into sporting events going forward to just make them even better,
Yeah.
bringing people together. Just going back to Fanatics Fest, just quickly, because we didn't touch upon. In addition to the showcases on the floor and the opportunities to meet athletes in the podcast, just the interactions and the activations they had for fans. It's like you would think if you had to wait online a long time, like Jordan alluded to, a WWE experience with ESPN, where you could almost a mock ring, jump off the turnbuckle like you're dropping an elbow drop or any other move you were doing off the top turnbuckle, and they would make it into a trading card for you. Kicking a soccer ball, shooting baskets, hitting a hockey puck. You would think that people would not want to wait too long on lines for these things, but everywhere you walk, there were just kids with their parents just waiting online. And again, kudos to Michael Rubin and his team. Maybe in the future they almost adopt a fast pass type system like they have at Disney World. Now, one of the things that comes along with that is you might have to pay a little bit extra for a premium experience or like cut the line type thing. But I can see them continuing to evolve this into something even greater. I think there was like 500 athletes and celebrities at this event. We talked about Fanatics games, which allows the athletes and celebrities to compete against everyday people for prizes. It's amazing. And the improvements over the 3 years that they've held it have just been tremendous.
Agreed.
The costume contest, by the way, which you might want to talk about too, because you experienced it firsthand last year.
Yeah. I mean, each year at Fanatics Fest, they have a costume competition where the best dressed fan gets tickets to literally the biggest sporting event of the year. I think this year it was Super Bowl, the Knicks home opener, the Yankees, the Mets, the WrestleMania,
UFC
UFC, literally everything, and like a $25,000 pennant, like a necklace, pendant or
pendant.
whatever it's called. Just like a big, just big prize to the winner, and the winner was actually a life-size version of the FIFA World Cup trophy, where I guess it was a kid.
It
You
looked
could
like a
see
kid.
you could see it all over social media. I'm sure it's gonna be in the news, but it was a kid with gold face paint holding his or her arms up in the air to, like, hold the like the ball at the top of the trophy and just painted head to toe, wrapped in gold tinfoil to match the color scheme of the FIFA trophy, and it was well deserving to be the I think it was announced this morning, but definitely well deserved to be the winner.
No, it was amazing and amazingly creative, and I don't know how long the kid had to keep or the person had to keep their arms in the air. It would look like it was almost like melded together in some fashion to what was like almost like a ball at the top. Yeah, another thing I wanted to mention, like coincidentally, we spent a couple of days out east in the Hamptons visiting some friends and family the last couple of days. And one of the days, one of the people we were staying with wanted to take us to their favorite beach in the Hamptons, which was Bridgehampton. The weather wasn't that nice, but it wasn't raining when we were there. So we were virtually, there was a handful of people on the beach, and we actually we drove past Michael Rubin's house where his white party takes place every year on the way to this little beach. And then when we were at the beach, we walked down along the public beach behind his house. And I just have to say, his house, if you take into account the location, which is on one of the most beautiful beaches in the world, is just absolutely spectacular. Kudos to him. His business has a story behind it to be discussed another day. He's purchasing the piece of property with what looks to be an older house next to his current house. But wow, what a spectacular home that he has for whenever he spends time there, and certainly when he holds that big party.
Yeah, feel free to send us an invite next year if you're having it again.
Absolutely, absolutely. We would gladly take it.
Yeah, but, I think today could be more of a quicker episode, not a lot going in the sports world, but I think we can just touch upon probably the 2 biggest storylines taking place in the NBA. One of them is not really a storyline, it's just a shout out to, I got Michigan behind me there, got Michigan there. Just Yaxel Lendeborg named the Summer League MVP. I don't know how fair it is that he got it. I mean, the Warriors won the championship in the Summer League, and he's like 25 years old, so he's a man amongst boys, but absolutely put on a show each game. And the Warriors got a special player in Yaxel, and it's going to be interesting to see. I was reading today that like Clutch Sports is trying to like maneuver a trade for Anthony Davis from the Wizards to the Warriors. I'm not buying it, but it's just interesting to see that. I don't even know what's going on with LeBron, but let's just keep it simple. The Warriors definitely have something with Curry, Yaxel Lendenborg, and the rest of their crew there. I don't know if it's gonna surmount it into anything just because
I
the
don't think
West is
so.
so dominant. I mean, you got like we talk about on every podcast, the Thunder, the Spurs, and you got the Timberwolves, Lakers, so many teams out there. And I guess I could
No,
pass you for Yaxel or
listen.
LeBron. Yeah.
Maybe Yaxel is somebody the Warriors can build around in the future, but obviously with the age of most of the starters on that team, I think it's going to be very difficult for them to make a significant impact. I give credit to Steph Curry for wanting to stay with one team his whole career. They're trying to patch it together. Even if by chance LeBron ends up going there, I don't think it's going to move the needle. In terms of LeBron, and we had on one of our prior shows, a discussion about LeBron standing in history versus Michael Jordan. Jordan feelings and my feelings are on the opposite ends of the spectrum. I honestly feel it's absolutely ridiculous that this has gone on so long. We're sitting here, it's July 22nd. Most of the other free agency moves have been made. There are some that are being held up. Jordan and I went to an event last week at Fanatics Fest, which we didn't really mention, which was held the first day. It was like a conference within a conference by Boardroom, which is like Kevin Durant's manager, Rich Kleinman, and Kevin Durant, hosted this conference. LeBron was there. We got to see him up close. I'm sure it was very exciting for Jordan. Adam Silver was also there. When it became time for Adam Silver to talk about things, the topic of LeBron came up, and he admitted it's holding up a lot of things related to the league from a scheduling standpoint. Obviously, LeBron gets ratings when you're talking about marquee matchups. Christmas Day, you want to have LeBron in there. And apparently, LeBron's camp got upset that Adam Silver commented that LeBron waiting was holding things up. Again, this is ridiculous. The league is bigger than one person. This is one of the reasons why LeBron sometimes gets a negative rap, along with other things that have happened in his career. And again, I think it's ridiculous. Jordan, I think, we'd be doing a disservice if we didn't talk about the Miami Heat mock post that garnered attention the
Yeah.
last couple of days.
Let's just say that the Miami Heat's video staff is taking applications at this moment just because I don't know if you're on social media, you've probably seen it, but regardless, a Miami Heat, I think it was an intern or someone on their creative team for YouTube posted a press conference, like, placeholder that said LeBron James, like, introductory press conference for July 27th, and it was deleted right away. Now, obviously, the Heat are gonna deny it, said it was a mistake as they're, like, preparing for the potential like, what are we doing? What are we doing?
That's a
And
major gaffe.
it might seem like a simple slip up, but I forgot who tweeted it. It was on LinkedIn, but I was reading, like, a breakdown of how this is just, like, $1,000,000 to $1,000,000,000 blunder by the Heat because it just I can't even, like, put into words, like, how do you mess that up? I know LeBron, like, is taking all this time and, people expect him to go to the Cavs or the Heat, but this is ridiculous. Like,
Yeah,
how
but
does this
I don't think it's a million to $1 billion blunder because there would be lawsuits. I think that's
Yeah, fair.
whoever was stating that, I think that's being extremely dramatic. It's a major screw up. These things have happened before. I tend to think that it's down to Cleveland and maybe Miami at
Agree.
this point. We'll see what happens, but
Yep.
I don't know if it was a satire, but it looked like somebody posted a job opening for a director of YouTube or creative strategy at the Miami Heat, but we'll see how it plays out. Again, it's at the point of ridiculous right now. You know,
Absolutely.
you mentioned the sports world's in a little bit of a lull. It's been on such a high for the last, let's say, 2 months with the NBA finals, being the Knicks, all the World Cup games, MLB All-Star game, which probably got the least attention, NBA free agency. And before you turn around, NFL training camp's going to be opening. So business is going to start
It's
picking up
opening
very
tomorrow.
quickly.
It's opening tomorrow.
Absolutely. It's
And
funny because I think somebody posted a video of John Harbaugh.
oh god,
Um, I'm sorry.
yeah,
Yeah, John Harbaugh
cringy.
addressing the Giants.
Cringy. It was just a video of him trying to hype up the Giants, but you know what? They might not have been hyped, but I love seeing it because I get to see some fantasy stars potentially that are gonna be on my team, and I know it also sounds crazy, but with training camp opening for the NFL, college football is right around the corner. I think we're when Saturday arrives, we will be 4 weekends out from week 0 of college football. Now I know week 0 is like, there's a couple games here and there, but any football is good football, regardless of who's playing, whether it's the top dogs like OSU, Georgia, Oregon, Michigan, like those teams, or if it's like, you know, the teams that aren't as sexy or are like football is football. It's always amazing to watch and a lot of good things happening. And next thing you know, we're just gonna have NBA, NFL, MLB all overlapping.
NBA. And
No, I'm just saying in October. People forget how
yeah.
but I know. Well, let's just focus on the NFL for now.
No, no, absolutely. And we're going to be dedicating certain shows coming up to previewing positions in fantasy football and our own rankings in fantasy football. That's sort of the origin of when Jordan and I started doing these podcasts, going back to our prior sort of name, which was Jacob's Dynasty Sports, which actually started during COVID. So we're
Yep.
certainly going to be reviving that.
Yep. But a lot of good things to look forward to. Not much more on my end. Old man, anything on your end?
No, no, I think we could finish it up by just putting out there our go-to guy of the week.
Go-to guy of the week. Go-to guy of the week. I think you could start.
Michael Rubin. Michael Rubin is what I'm going to
Figured it.
say. And let me tell you something. That is saying a lot considering that we're coming up off of a World Cup final. And Mbappe actually got like the equivalent of the MVP for the World Cup, which is not MVP,
The
a
golden boot.
recognition for scoring the most
Yeah.
goals. So, Messi didn't win, so it can't be him. Again, saying a lot. Just Michael Rubin was everywhere the past week. He was at the World Cup final. I'm sure he had something to do with a number of the athletes who attended the World Cup final because Topps was the lead sponsor. Jordan and I went to Saturday night's main event at the Garden on Saturday night. Michael Rubin was sitting in the front row. He's also a wrestling fan. We didn't even talk about wrestling. I think later in the week, maybe we'll have a a show to talk about a preview lead up to SummerSlam. We like to cover everything that we enjoy. But yeah, I'm going to give it to Michael Rubin with honorable mention going to the fan who was named the best dressed fan at FanFest.
I figured out my go-to guy right after you mentioned Michael Rubin. Big A or it's not Big AJ, it's just AJ from the Costco guys, but I'm just gonna go with the Costco guys family for actually taking the time to do an interview with the go-to guys. I know Big Justice, and I think the daughter's name is Ashley, but Mama Justice,
No,
super
she was
nice.
great making
Yeah,
sure that her husband took the time
yeah.
to speak with us. Is his name Big Justice?
So Big Justice is the kid, AJ's the dad, Mama Justice, and Ashley's the daughter. But Mama Justice, AJ, the go-to couple of the week for helping us conduct an interview with them. And I have to say, AJ, he's one big dude. He's
He's a
massive.
big dude and a really nice
Very.
guy. And when I give the boom boom, my arms are certainly not as large as his. But you could check out our post on Instagram or on YouTube, of the
TikTok
interview that
everywhere.
was done with them. But, I like that, them being the go-to guys as well. Well done. Well done.
Thank you. And that gets a boom, boom.
Boom boom.
But with that being said, all good on my end. Old man, all good on his end. Hopefully, we'll get another episode up this weekend. We should get another episode up this weekend, but posts coming out pretty much daily. Going to try to get something up on the Instagram, the TikTok, the YouTube shorts daily, whether it's about cards, sports, pop culture, food reviews, which we started bringing back this week with Tate's Bake Shop. They're also go-to guys, go-to gals mentioned. I don't really know who owns them, but I'm assuming it's Tate. But with that being said, tune in next time for another episode of.
The go-to guys.
See you guys next time.